Welcome to Truckee Talks. I'm your host, Maya Schneider, and it's my privilege to bring you this week, Rachelle Pellisier. Rachelle, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's nice to have you here. Now, you're known throughout Truckee as the president and CEO of the Truckee-Donner Chamber of Commerce. What does that mean? What is your job like?
Well, I oversee all functions of the organization. I take care of overseeing and administrating the promotional contracts for both the town of Truckee and Nevada County. Run staff in the visitor center and in the chamber office, and I don't mean run them around the office.
They may say that, though.
Yeah. Listen to the business community and advocate on behalf of business at the local, state, federal level.
Okay. It's a busy job, it sounds like.
Very busy job.
It's a big job.
Yeah.
How many members right now in the chamber?
465.
Wow, and counting.
Yeah.
Now, Rachelle, you've been with the chamber for how long?
5.5 years.
That's a long run.
Yes.
Congratulations on
Thanks.
that. What's different now with the Chamber of Commerce versus 5.5 years ago when you first set foot there?
When I first started, of course, our office was on the other side of town.
That's right,
on the west
little
side
blue
of town.
building. Yeah.
Yes. So we've moved the office into the historic depot downtown and remodeled the depot. We took over the visitor services contract, so we run the visitor center in the depot. We have grown from, we had about 285 members back in the day, so to speak. And now we've, like I said, have 465. Our budget's probably gone from about 180,000 back then to over 500,000, including promotional contracts. We were in a unfavorable position with a lot of other organizations in town, so we've mended all of those fences, and we've become now the organization that most everyone comes to get help for what they need, especially, of course, on business.
Well, it's true. You really have established quite a track record. You should be proud, and I'm sure your staff and board are as well. It's a lot of growth as well. Let's talk a little bit about the visitor services that you provide. What does that mean? That certainly Truckee is based on tourism.
Right.
How do you interface?
Well, of course, when someone's coming to visit an area, this is any area, they don't know who to call to get information. So the first thing they usually think to do is to call the Chamber of Commerce, which would be us.
Right.
So we provide information to the visitor both on the telephone. We have about 36,000 people walk through the visitor center doors every year.
Wow.
So to the visitors who are already here. We also have a website, Truckee.com, that gets more than 45,000 visitors a month. So, and they're allowed to email us. So we answer all of those questions and take for the visitor, and actually from locals too. So we're just kind of like the information center.
It's the focal point where people go for answers to their questions. Well, let's back up a little bit and talk about Rachelle and how you got here in the first place. How long have you lived in the Tahoe region?
10 years now.
Okay.
When my husband and I first moved here, and our number one son first moved here 10 years ago, I was just here part-time for a year, taking care of my mom who was ill down where I grew up in Granite Bay. So I moved here full-time 9 years ago and went to work for the Truckee Hotel. I was the general manager of the Truckee Hotel.
Ah, yes, that would be this one.
That picture. Right. And I gave it that paint job.
Well, you really have done your share in town.
There you go.
What's your background? How did you end up getting involved with the chamber?
For many years, I did property management. I had a real estate license in Arizona and had my own little property management company in Arizona, so I've kind of done building and property management. So when I moved here, I got the job at the Truckee-Donner Chamber of Commerce. At the time, we were having I hate to say feud, but a disagreement with the Downtown Merchants Association, the chamber was, over the location of the office, the chamber office. The disagreement was hurting my business. the hotel, because we were both a chamber member and of course we were a downtown merchant.
Right.
And it was hurting my business. So I became involved. I was on the board of the Downtown Merchants Association, and I became involved as the community leader of the Chamber of Commerce. And when I started doing that, it became apparent that we really needed to become more visitor service oriented as a Chamber of Commerce. And when the job opened, I thought, you know, I think I can do that job. I think I can help them out. So, and they decided to hire me.
And
give
the
me a
rest,
chance.
as they say, is
There you
history.
go.
Well, you interface not only with local commerce, of course, who you represent, but also with a lot of different agencies. You have contracts with Nevada County, you have contracts with the town of Truckee.
Right.
So you have to be a bit of a politician in your job as well.
You do. And advocating for business is a job that you have to do with all public entities. So, yes, I interact a lot, so to speak.
And how has that been for you?
That's great.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I enjoy, it's kind of like debate, sort of, in a way. You know, I enjoy thinking about things and listening to all sides of any issue and picking up the pieces that might work well for everybody involved, if that's possible, and then advocating for what's best for business in town. So that's been very enjoyable.
You mentioned your number one son. You have two sons.
I have two sons.
You want to talk about that?
My husband and I, who have been married for 18 years now, have a 15-year-old who's a freshman in high school. He's the light of my life. He's 6'3" and
because you never talk
child.
about him.
No,
so
no, I'm not prejudiced about that at all. And then my husband and I, after thinking about it for quite a while and practicing for a while, just had another baby. He's 20 months old. So,
Douglas.
and he is full of it,
Yeah.
so to speak.
He is the mirror of your wonderkinder.
Yes.
He's the one that's going to keep you challenged.
I like to say he came out 8 weeks early hollering and hasn't stopped
Since.
So,
Mom, I want this now.
yes.
Well, what are some of the challenges that you faced down as the president of the CEO? And what do you think is still ahead for challenges for the chamber?
I think the first challenges, of course, were just repairing our relationships with everybody in town. The membership was leaving instead of coming to us. So that was the first challenge. We were in the red, and quite honestly, our building had just blown up a couple years
That's
before.
right.
So,
That's right.
you know, we needed to work on finances and make our product, membership, in a business organization, a better product to sell. So that was a challenge that I took on wholeheartedly. Challenges in the future, I see as just keep developing the product that we have, keep improving business to our community, whether that be tourism or whether that be expanding business in the community to other things also.
What are some of the benefits of membership? If a business is out there and doesn't belong to the Truckee Donner Chamber and is wondering, well, you know, why should I?
We do get, like I said, 36,000 people walk through our doors and about 24,000 phone calls a year. And of course, we refer our members first for things. That does not mean that we don't refer other businesses in the community. It just means we have the information on our businesses, so they're going to get the referrals first. So referrals is one of the major reasons for people to join the chamber. We also give networking opportunities, monthly mixers, we give education on labor laws.
Right.
We try to give legislative luncheons on issues affecting our businesses and the community. So there are lots of ways to interact by becoming a member of the chamber. But the advertising, it's the cheapest advertising you'll do for your business.
That's true.
You know. For a small business, it's $160 so you can't, a year, so you can't beat the advertising dollar that you spend there.
Rachelle, you just touched on an important topic for the town, and not all of this is going to be able to be addressed in this show that's really about you and not about the chamber, but you mentioned tourism and promoting that, but also promoting other business and other economies, if you will, in town. How do you see the chamber interfacing with the community in terms of defining the future of Truckee? I know you and I have talked about that in lunches together, but in a larger picture, how does the Chamber fit into that?
Well, I think giving as much information as we can out to the community, helping to make sure that we grow in a well-planned fashion, whether it be business or, you know, our communities where we all live, making sure we have affordable housing in the community for our workers to live in. I'd say that's the #1 issue that's facing our business community right now, is affordable housing for our employees. We can't get the employees because there's nowhere for them to live.
Nowhere they can afford to live.
Yeah. So we've been really working on that, the Chamber has, in the last couple years.
And there's a new workforce housing group, the
Authority,
WAT
yes.
group, that's come out of those discussions.
Yes, I worked very hard on that, and am very happy that that organization has gotten started, because as a Chamber of Commerce we have a lot of priorities. We really needed an organization in town that affordable housing was the priority. So
you must get a lot of inquiries from people who are looking to move to Truckee, both personally and for their businesses.
Right.
Anecdotally, do you have a sense of who's coming and who wants to be here?
I think it's the same type of people. It's you know, as you and I. We have families.
Oh God, not more single women.
No,
Right.
We don't want any competition.
Right.
You know, families wanting to get their kids out of the city, wanting to bring them somewhere where they can do any kind of sport, they can be in the outdoors all the time. You really don't have to worry about gangs to any huge degree like you would in the city. And it's not that you don't want to watch over your kids, it's just that you'd like them in a safe place.
Yes.
So that's who's trying to move here at this point.
So it's still families, still working families.
Right, and it's still a really easy sell, you know.
Oh yeah.
A great place to move, great place to raise your kids, you know. Like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years, and I'm just really happy with the way my son's turning out, so.
Well, I'll say this on the record, the way that your son is turning out is in great deal having to do with how you and Rick are raising him.
Well,
he is a wonderful child, and I'll say that as well. What role does the Chamber play in bringing business here?
Well, we don't go out and recruit at this point. The Chamber is, you know, has a small staff, so we don't have an economic development kind of person on staff that goes out and recruits. We do provide information, because those businesses, just like individuals who come into town, call us first.
Right.
So we provide information on the economy. We try to keep our demographic information updated and give them an idea of who to go to find space for their business and how to start businesses in the area. We spend a lot of time counseling people on how to start businesses. So we a couple years ago put together a book called Doing Business in Truckee, you know, that has all the public agencies and all their phone numbers and the kinds of licenses you need and that kind of thing, and that's very helpful. So we try to help as much as possible.
That is a great thing. That's a great advocacy. I'm hopping around here from one task to the other, but you really are multitasking at the Chamber of Commerce. In addition to representing businesses, you're also doing, as we spoke about, the visitors contracts. You've had quite a number of magazine articles that really favorably featured Truckee.
Right.
Both
it's a great place to live.
Great place to play.
Great ski town.
Great ski town, right. And a lot of that had to do with your efforts.
Well, it had to do with town financing, a promotional contract that addressed getting the word out. So without the financing of a promotional contract, my efforts wouldn't have been there. So it is getting the word out about Truckee and the great things to do in Truckee. By press releases, media calls us all the time. I want pictures, I want to do a story. It's keeping in touch with them and sending them story ideas. We do try
press
to keep
releases,
on top of that.
letting them know that you're here. In fact, recently KOLO Channel 8 came up and did their news broadcast from Truckee. That was a lot of fun. It really was.
Yes,
you did a great job on that. Let's talk a little bit about your board. You have a board.
The The chamber is driven by a board of directors. It's 9-member voting board, plus 4 community liaisons, the town of Truckee, the North Lake Tahoe Resort Association, the school district, and the Downtown Merchants Association each have a non-voting community liaison on our board. Keeps us in touch with the other organizations in town. They create policy, and of course I administer the policy through the office. But they're very active. We try to bring in board members that are very interested in the community, plus that are from different types of businesses, so that we're addressing every type of business in our thinking and in our planning.
How often do you have turnover on the board?
They're 3-year terms.
Okay. Okay. So that keeps you hopping too.
That keeps you hopping.
Well, Rachelle, it's no secret that you're moving on now in town. When we scheduled this appearance on the show, we had no idea, you had no idea that you'd be moving on, but you are. Right. Let's talk about that. This is your last week at the Chamber of Commerce.
My last week. It's been very, very hard to let go. It's been my baby for 5.5 years. I've put a lot of concentration and effort into it, so it's been very hard to let go. But I feel like the Chamber's in a really good place right now, and someone can come in and keep the momentum going. And they've got good challenges in front of them. So I feel like it's time to move on. Got an offer I couldn't refuse too, so I'll be going to work with Tom Watson at Truckee River Associates, going back to my real estate roots, so to speak. I'll be doing commercial development, property management type activities with Tom.
When I think about that, I can't help but think if you're going to keep Tom in line or he's going to keep you in line.
Well, hopefully we'll keep each other in line.
It sounds like it. But it's a great opportunity.
Think through everything.
Right. Oh my.
That's scary.
You need somebody out there who just say go, go, go.
Yes.
That's a great opportunity for you.
And I'm excited about it. It's, I seem to be good at getting into a business and kind of fixing it up, and it's time for someone else to come in. So.
Well, I'm going to tattle on you a little bit here. Many people who know you don't know that you live in the city and not in Truckee.
Right.
Your wealth of knowledge of Truckee is as rich as somebody who lives here and who pays attention.
Right.
And you certainly know all of the players in Truckee.
Right.
How do you explain that? How did you do that?
Even though I've lived in Tahoe City all these years, I spend all my waking hours in Truckee, and I love this town. There is not a moment that I don't walk down the street that I don't get the thought that, boy, I just love this town and the people in this town. So if you were to ask me what's going on in Tahoe City, I'd have to tell you, unless it has something to do with one of my children, I don't know. So.
That's fair enough. As you look ahead down the path for whoever your successor is in the Chamber of Commerce, what do you see as some of the challenges ahead for your board, for the next president, CEO, and maybe for the businesses in town? Oh,
I think addressing, like I said, affordable housing is a challenge for all of us. We've got to get up some places where our employees can live, or we're not going to have employees. And I think that's going to be a big issue in the future, as it has been. I've been preaching that for the last couple of years. And that needs to be addressed. And it's going to keep them busy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky in that since we just incorporated,
10 years almost.
It's been 10 years.
Almost.
But we were able to work on a general plan.
Yeah.
From the ground up just 10 years ago. So we were able to address some zoning issues that government bodies who have been, around for 75 years and maybe update their general plans every once in a while haven't been able to address.
Right.
And that is, anytime you develop in Truckee, you have to address some kind of affordable housing in the development. So we're very lucky in that. Our problem is that we're a larger region than just Truckee. So it's addressing those government bodies right on our borders that don't see the issues the way we do.
Yeah, the inside joke is County 59. That we need a 59th county in the state, and it would be the North Tahoe and Truckee region.
Right.
How has the Chamber been able to work regionally? You have to deal with a number of agencies. You also interface with the North Lake Tahoe Resort Association.
Right.
How do those relationships
we
foment?
haven't worked with like Placer County as much. We try to work with the Resort Association in order to work with Placer County. Because I just can't go over there and start telling them what to do. You know?
Well, I don't know, you
They
might
like
be
to
pretty
listen,
effective at it.
you know? So the chamber doesn't interact with Placer County as much as it does with our county and a state, with the state, you know, with our own legislators. So that's why we decided we were going to get together with the Resort Association and try to build this organization that could advocate for affordable housing in a regional sense.
Well, it begs the next question. When we talk about affordable housing, you're also talking about future development, whether or not that development will include affordable housing or not, how you mandate that, what are the public-private partnership opportunities.
Right.
Is the chamber, do you think the next step for the chamber then is to step up and take a role in development issues? Because certainly those are the hottest issues in this town, politically hot potatoes nobody wants to hang on to for too long.
You know, we've felt in the last 5.5 years, I can't say how we felt before this, that if the majority of our membership isn't behind something, then we are not there to pick a side. So a lot of times, especially with development issues, we feel like we can be the educator, and we can give an even ear and give access to educational opportunities so that we can give both sides of the issue. We did it with PC2, if you remember back several years ago.
Oh, the Measure M campaign.
It was really split down the middle.
Yes.
It was, I mean, we could not take a side one way or another. So we had a luncheon, and it was a sold-out luncheon, and had both sides come and speak to it so we can educate our members.
That's right. And that was a hot issue then.
Right.
And you see the same sort of issues heating up now with the Martis Valley debates.
Right.
People wanting the town of Truckee to take a more proactive role in the development in the Martis Valley. And of course, that's Placer County, and how do you do that? So is your board sort of shifting towards taking a stand, or still waiting to see what
I think they're
membership
still
says?
at the, well, we are there to represent the membership, so we have to deal with what membership says.
Right,
You know, so it really depends on the issue. Thank goodness in this day and age of technology, we can survey our members really quickly on a lot of stuff and decide how to go. But we've really tried to keep an open mind to most things and just try to educate everyone.
Well, and I look at the advances that the Chamber of Commerce has made in the last 5.5 years. I have to say congratulations.
Oh,
Technologically advanced, the visitor services are wonderful. You really are providing quite a service. And of course, the Chamber representation for the commerce, for the businesses in town.
Business is good.
So you can feel good about that.
Yes.
You can walk away with some sense of pride.
Right.
And you should.
Thank you.
Should. Well, Rachelle, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been good hearing
I've
about the
enjoyed it.
Chamber. And it hasn't been too much torture. I hope you did great.
No, you didn't show age 5.
I came this close, but I promised Rick I'd be good. So I wish you all the luck in the world with
Thank
Truckee
you.
River Associates. I know that's going to be a great partnership for you. So congratulations as you move on.
Thank you.
And any words of advice for your board or your successor as you part the Chamber of Commerce?
Just keep an open mind, listen to what the community has to say, and try to be honest and show integrity.
Yeah,
And
that's
that'll
important.
Stay ya.
That's important no matter what you're doing.
That's right.
All right, Rachelle, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Again, we've been talking to Rachelle Pellisier, the President and CEO of the Truckee Donner Chamber of Commerce, in this, her last week in that position. We'll see you in just a minute with community events. We'll be back. Welcome back to Truckee Talks, and now upcoming events in and around our region for the week of Wednesday, June 12th. That's right, I have to remember what day we're taping. The Tahoe Forest Hospital Senior Fair will be Thursday, June 13th at the Truckee Senior Center. This health fair features educational booths, and all seniors are encouraged to attend. For information, call Tahoe Forest Hospital at 582-3483. On Saturday, June 15th, the Truckee Donner Historical Society holds their first annual Memorial Garden Party. The Memorial Garden is located on Jaboom Street, directly behind the old jail. The garden party will be held from 2 until 4 p.m., and for information, call the Historical Society at 582-0893. Sunday, June 23rd, Project Mana is presenting its third annual wine tasting and silent auction. This year's event will be held at Plumpjack's in Squaw Valley and features hors d'oeuvres, entertainment, and fine wines. Tickets for this benefit, are $25 per person, $40 per couple, and may be purchased at the Truckee Donner Chamber of Commerce. For information, call Project Mana at 546-2416. The Young Eagles fly on Truckee at Saturday, June 29th. Youngsters and would-be pilots ages 8 through 17 are invited to the Truckee Tahoe Airport to meet pilots, see the aircraft, and participate in a ground school class, as well as experience the thrill of a flight over Truckee and Lake Tahoe. This runs 8 a.m. until 11 a.m., weather permitting, at the airport. For information, Charlie White's your man, 587-4811. And speaking of flying, the United States Air Force Band of the Golden West is playing at Truckee Regional Park, also on Saturday, June 29th at 6 p.m. This is a great, fun family event and will be jam-packed with patriotic music, and it's free. Bring your low back lawn chairs, bring a picnic dinner, and remember to thank the women of the local chapter of the AAUW for sponsoring this terrific evening. It's a great event. And the third annual Best of Tahoe Chef's Dinner is coming to the resort at Squaw Creek on Sunday, June 30th. This event is a benefit for Tahoe Forest Hospital community wellness programs and is a wonderful event. This includes benefits for cancer education and support. This event is a 4-course dinner prepared by some of the area's top chefs, including Douglas Dale of Woofdale's, Mark Estey, Billy McCullough, Gary Bulmer, and more. There will be live music during the dinner, wonderful food, and dancing after. Tickets are $70 per person or $130 per couple and may be purchased over the phone by dialing 1-800-3-CREEK-3. Again, that's Sunday, June 30th at 6 p.m. for the Best of Tahoe Chef's Dinner. Well, that's it for this week. We want to thank again Rachelle Pellisier for being our guest on today's show. Remember, you can call the TTC TV studios at 582-1194 if you have an event you'd like to mention on the show. We'll see you next week on Truckee Talks.